Hello, everybody. Time is just okay, so let's get started. Welcome you to my session, where I want to introduce you our experience in the company I work at as the principal architect. The session is called, obviously, 7 years with microservices. So obviously, I believe that it is quite large experience, and I will try to share with you some obvious things which are already working for us, working in other companies also. But I think that the most interesting part for you will be what we felt at. So let's get started. How many of you is familiar with microservices? Just raise your hand. Quite a few of you, okay. How many of you has some experience with microservices already? Okay, good. So at least half of you has some experience. For those of you who are not so familiar, let's just make some background at the beginning to align us at the context. What are the microservices? Most of you already know, as the name suggests, small services, not so big, not so small. And some principles are covered by microservices. They should be focused enough. They should be independent from each other. The application development lifecycle completely should be independent from the other systems, from other services, and that's the key here. But the question arises some 10, 15 years ago: why the microservices came and why they became so much popular? Does anybody of you know the answer already? Just raise your hand if you get the idea. Okay. At least 1, 2, 3. Good. The answer is simple: complexity, and managing the complexity. As the systems become larger and larger, and the enterprises become more complex in what they have to cover by the software systems, then the complexity raises, and covering all the business complexity in big monolithic systems became ineffective enough to say that the monolithic architecture pattern works in some cases in enough small systems, but it completely fails in different aspects: in scalability, maintainability, extensibility, price tag of the bigger systems. And that's the reason, that's the answer why microservices became so much popular: the complexity. Of course, with microservices come other issues, as most of you already know, if we have the experience. So there is the need, and highly suggested to cover some principles. And I will just highlight the three of them. There are more, but let's focus on just the most important, related to how to organize microservices. I must admit that I don't like microservices. I don't like the term because it doesn't say what is the micro. Is it this size, what? More, I like the term the domain services. Then the thinking about how to design the services to be independent but still focused to each other becomes that thinking more clear if you relate your thinking to the business domains. And the size of the service is one of the key aspects always to be considered in your thinking. It should not be small, because then if you cover all the business environment with a lot of small services, then you come into microservices hell. If they are large, then they become monolithic and unmanageable, or terribly manageable. So size is the key here. For example, in our company, we've created services like the tax service that is responsible for calculating taxes all over the world, in different regions, different countries, different legislation is there, different rules, different granularity, and the service is doing all this stuff related to taxes. And for other stuff, for other parts of the corporate environment, for other services, it is completely hidden within this service. That kind of complexity. Payment service, obviously, is the other great example. How to hide the complexity and focus it into one very focused service, and completely hide the complexity within that service for the other systems in the companies, and so on and so on. You get the key. The other principle is the ownership. One of the crucial here. The service, the domain service, in order to succeed with that pattern, always has to be covered by one team. The team should not be small, 1 to 2 people. Okay, it's not so good. Usually, it is said that microservices should be maintainable by the teams from 3 to 10 people, 2 pizzas team, probably you know. And within that team, the members of the team are responsible for complete development lifecycle, for planning the features, implementing them, testing, releasing them, and monitoring and making adjustments and again and again. In theory, it works. Other principle, as we've already said, is their complete independency in the development life cycle. So there should be always possible to deploy the service without waiting for the other service to be deployed because of some logical or physical dependency. The development life cycle, the deployments, and monitoring and alerting the services should be completely independent from the rest of the services which are not owned by the team. However, with this set comes the fact that the ownership not only means autonomicity, not only means independence, but it also means a lot of responsibility for the team. Testing, development, monitoring, and so on. But not only that, there are also security aspects which the team has to cover, has to keep in mind when implementing and maintaining the service. Financial aspects. Usually, in our company mostly, we work in Azure, in the cloud environment, and each and every resource has its price tag. And each and every resource can be scalable, which is perfect, but also the price can scale. So financial aspects are very crucial here, and they also have to be monitored and maintained and optimized by the team. And not only that, the team is also responsible for the technological quality, how the features will be implemented, whether there is technical debt or not. The team is responsible also for long-term maintainability of the system, so that some quick fixes or quickly developed features can crash in quite long-term future, and it is something that the team usually doesn't want. All these aspects have to be covered by the team, and this is the burden. This is the burden for the microservices. So let me share with you how we managed it. On one side, we want the teams to be autonomous, independent. On the other hand, we don't want to overload them with all that stuff. To give you a little bit of context, okay, this sounds like a marketing slide, but I want you just to understand how complex the environment is. So let's give you some numbers. We operate in as the company in 54 markets over the globe. We have more than 100 and something, more than 1 million and something active users, which means that they daily or more than daily use our systems in production. Currently, we have more than 150 microservices. I think that those days it might be close to 200 microservices already, which are running in production and which are live in production, which are providing the stuff there. And those microservices are developed, maintained, and owned by slightly more than 15 teams. Our environment is, as I already mentioned, in Azure, in the cloud, in a different location over the globe, and that's how it is. Some of the services are replicated. Some of them are global in just one region in Azure. The key for us, how to maintain that complexity and how to, on the other hand, provide the independency for the teams, is the key separation for different two team types: platform teams and the product teams. The idea is not something original. The idea comes from larger companies like Microsoft, Spotify, Netflix, who already are extensively using microservices architecture. So we followed that separation. We just made some adjustments there, adjusted to our company size. The responsibility for the platform tiers, for those of you who know, probably nothing new, is that they are the owners of the technological vision of the company. where they provide the ideas. They invest a lot of time into investigation, into technological research. They create proof of concepts, and so on and so on. But not only that, at the end of the day, they also provide tooling for the product teams. Tooling means like they provide the common platforms which we have, API gateways, messaging platforms, Kubernetes, which we run in the cloud, is also one of the common platforms in a way that the product teams, the domain teams, then they can enjoy the services of those platforms and not to be overloaded with the platform as such. Also, the platform teams provide the guidance, the guidelines, the automation processes, CI/CD, continuous integration and delivery pipelines, as you already know, and all that stuff. So product teams are not overloaded with so big amount of technological aspects that is usually shared among the teams. We are divided into platform-specific teams. Front-end team is obviously developing and providing platforms for the front-end in Node.js and React. Then we have the back-end teams. One of them is focused tightly to microservices platform, as I said, Kubernetes and such, and containerization, Dockerization of processes for the applications. We have also the monolithic applications, and so that we have obviously the monolithic platform team, who is the supporting team for the, I would say, the legacy platform, but it is not so legacy. We are slightly transforming from monolithic to microservices architecture, even in those old and large monolithic systems. Also, we have quality assurance teams, who is responsible for methodologies for how to test things and provides tooling and quite extensive internal testing framework, and so on and so on. Product teams are divided into, as you probably guessed, the domains. We have the checkout team, we have the payment team, and so on and so on. So you get the key. These are the teams who are tightly coupled with the business domains. These are the teams who are delivering business features. And these teams enjoy the services that the platform teams provide to them. We sometimes say that the product teams are the first-level customers from the platform teams. Okay, time is good, so let's move on. The good things which worked for us from the very beginning, some 7-8 years ago, were the idea of educating and pioneering the platform teams and evangelizing the knowledge and sharing that with the product teams. This is okay, this is obvious, and very necessary to succeed. Also, what works and what we highlight very much is that the product teams should not be reactive, should not wait what will be delivered, what will be suggested from the platform teams. Usually and mostly, the product teams are the ones who come with the challenges, who challenge the current state of art, the current architectures, the current platforms which we have, and they bring new ideas from the business perspective. Then it is the task for the platform teams to implement them correctly. And that feedback from the product teams is also very important for us. Also, for those two team types to work properly, it is important to very regularly or very intensively share what's happening here and there. We established a couple of guilds, which, for example, backend guild for backend experts, backend architects, frontend guild for frontend architects. Also, we have the QA guild for the QA experts, and so on. And these guilds serve us as the meeting place for sharing knowledge, for sharing continuously what's going on within the teams, what are the challenges, how the teams solve them, and also the important part there is to always think about how, if someone challenges something and solves it, how can it be shared with the other teams. And the reason for that is simple, very simple, but very important. And since we want to make our teams autonomous, there always will be the tendency to to fall down into the team silos, to be in the isolation. And these guilds break this silo mindset a little bit. Last but not least, we learn very much from mistakes. Mistakes is never some opportunity to blame anybody. It is always the opportunity to learn something. So whenever we search for the root cause of whatever, it never is to, in the end, to point at someone, you are to blame. It is always to localize the root cause, learn from it, and prevent or at least mitigate it for the future. This is how we work. But now I think you are quite curious what did not work so well. Because in theory it works very good. In practice, there were quite unhappy stuff. At the very beginning, many years ago, we, as the technical experts and architects, were very eager to adopt something new, something popular, something which we felt it might cause our problems with maintainability of big systems. And we underestimated the readiness of the company for that. We underestimated the readiness of some of the product teams to adjust to new technologies. For example, at the very beginning of our front-end transformation from monolithic to microservices oriented architecture, we just created some POCs, we provided some very, very basic, very poor tooling to the teams, and then we said them, here it is, now it's up to you. And it didn't work. They did something, of course. They tried to swim in the sea, but it was poor experience, not effective, and in the end, the overall architecture was terrible pain. Once we realized that readiness is important, we tried a different approach. The approach was still based on the overall vision, what we had, the ultimate goal, what we want to achieve, microservices, new technologies, React, Node.js, whatever. Still, the ultimate vision was there, but the path to get there was different. We split it, the ultimate goal, from current state to the future state to very clear milestones, and we defined how to satisfy these clear, small, incremental milestones. And we always try, since then, to adjust these milestones, these small increments, with the business relation. At the very beginning, we were not able to convince the management and the business why the microservices are so great. It was not clear. Once we started to put the business value to that, for example, the front page will be faster. We said how much faster it will be. It will be expandable. How much faster? In which ways it will be expandable? It will be responsive. Also, we can hire people from the front-end community who already know the technology, and so on. Then the business benefits were at least a little bit more clear to the management, and since then, convincing the technological transformation to the management was simpler. You already probably get the point that at the very beginning we were too much focused on the technological aspects of our eagerness to make things more modern and more cool, and that business impact was not accented too much. Once we started to think not only about technological aspects, which are important, of course, because long-term sustainability of the systems is important to the business, but difficult to describe to them. Once we started to describe the benefits of new platforms with the business language, then everything changed completely. And since then, I can say carefully that our transformations work quite continuously, seamlessly, not so in a hurry as they were at the beginning, but clearly the goals are there and business impact is there for everybody. Last but not least, Last but not least, logging, observability, monitoring. In monolithic applications, quite simple task. In microservices, in distributed architecture, very difficult task. From time to time, we fell down into the world of gray zones where nobody was able to raise his hand and say, hey, this is fault of our system, we will fix it. Because from the owners of the system's perspective, everything worked correctly. And the communication between the systems was something to blame, which was not easily recognizable by the owners of the systems when they were focused on the system as such. These gray zones were something which we had to fix, and the solution for that was that we implemented a couple of toolings for monitoring, observability, pinging system again and again, making some very light smoke tests there, testing the critical business processes from the very end to the other very end, and then it could help us. It could help us to localize quite quickly where the problem probably will be if the end user reports an issue. From the product team's perspective, there were other issues. And what we didn't realize at the beginning was that the eagerness for us as platform engineers and architects to learn something new was not as natural for the platform for the feature teams. They were usually overloaded by business tasks, and some teams the technical maturity of the teams was not so great in order to jump into the water and swim there autonomously. The lack of senior engineers at some teams was something that made us a lot of pain in some teams. And the learning for us from that experience is that whenever we want the team to make it autonomous enough, independent enough from each other, there always have to be the seniority, at least in one person, who is able to at first lead the team, and second to raise challenges to the others and to name the challenges. If it is not fulfilled, then the team delivers poor quality application, and usually they also came into some sort of isolation because they were not able to ask something because they were shy of saying that I don't know, or how to solve some this and that, and you get the key. Some of the teams. Usually related to again to the not so mature teams, were focused on business delivery, because the pressure from the business stakeholders usually is extensive, and if there is not the seniority in the technical expertise, they do not have enough arguments to explain why the technological continuation, why the technological improvements are necessary for the teams, for the services to put also into an account, and and they were not able to formulate why the technical debt and the size of the technical debt to limit as much as possible is important. The long-term maintainability, as I said, is not something that is clear to business. Once we've realized that the seniority has to be in the teams, then we also realized that there always has to be balance between, or we not only realized, but the seniors in the teams were able to formulate what the balance between the business delivery and the technical excellence is important. Once they were able to formulate, then the stability of the teams and quality of the services became larger. Last but not least, reactive mindset. This is something that we knew very well from the large monolithic applications, when the roles from the team members are very clear. Most of the teams, most of the people usually are in the mindset, give me the task and I will fulfill it, which is working perfectly if the roles are clear. Here is the architect, here is the developer, here is the tester, and etc. it completely fails in the independent teams. And you get probably the point. When there was missing the technical leadership, the proactive mindset in the whole team, then the services became poor enough to fail, to be unstable, to be expensive for maintaining, and it was a tough experience. Once we understood that at each and every team that has to be at least one person is enough to have this proactive mindset, to lead the team, and to proactively search for opportunities, then the whole team starts to work. We are quite running out of time, so let me summarize a little bit the important aspects of how these microservices architecture, the domain services architecture, is important to succeed. The key number one, you've probably got it, is the company culture. We always have to be open and name clearly and very honestly what are the pain points, what is the success, and in order to succeed with the autonomous teams, with the independent services, there always has to be this openness in mutual collaboration within the teams. We know that there is the risk of creating the team silos, and the open communication for us is one of the most effective tools for breaking these silos. Thank you very much. Thank you that you come. And if you have any questions, then thank you. We have some time, right? Okay. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. And then you can also win some decent prizes, some cosmetic products, not only for men, for women, for kids, for everybody. So then join me and you will get something very fresh.
There is one question on Matrix. How many architects do you have? And is it difficult to manage the knowledge about all of the microservices?
Okay, in the platform teams, most of them are architects. It is something like we have 15 architects, I would say, 15 experts who cover the technological vision. Also, there are the technical leads, the architects within the feature teams. They are, of course, from different experience. Some of them are very experienced, some of them not so experienced, but we also call them architects. We call them the leads of the teams. In each and every team, there is at least one.
Next question. What are the issues you have with the integration between the microservices and the monolith solution you have?
The issues, there are a couple of issues. The issue is that we continuously try to break the monolithic domain into independently implemented domains, and this is probably the biggest issue. How to find the right boundaries. In monolithic application, there are the boundaries, quite logically obvious, but how to then move it into the physical isolation in the microservices is the issue for us. So bounded context and scope of the service is probably the largest issue, and also then finding the benefits for business is another issue. Sometimes it is security, sometimes it is scalability, sometimes it is long-term maintainability, and for us as technicians, usually and very quickly it is obvious what are the benefits, but from time to time, we quite sometimes search for the businessly acceptable and understandable benefits.
Hello, I have a few questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first question, what methodology do you use in your company for development, like Scrum, Safe?
Methodology. Okay.
Yes.
Methodology, we call it Scrum. I would say it is Scrum-ish something. But we in feature teams, in the product teams, they work quite clearly in the sprints. In the platform teams, they also work in the sprints. They have at the beginning they have planning, at the end they have demos, they have retrospectives. But in the platform teams, the scope is not as committed as in the feature teams. because usually they invest a lot of time into research and into investigating unknown issues, and then there is not so clear how much time it will take. So that's why the commitment is not as tightly fixed.
Thank you. And how do you usually measure the team's performance?
We measure it by by satisfaction from the business, in the product teams. If they deliver on time, and they usually do deliver on time, then they succeed. In the platform teams, we measure in fact we don't measure performance at all. To say it loudly, we don't measure it. The success for us is that we are moving from the state where we are to the state where we want to be, and we clearly articulate with the management team and the business how much time these various kinds of transformations how much it will take, and how much effort it will cost us. And if we succeed, then it is success for us. But performance is not an issue for us.
Okay, thanks. And the last question, what about the testing? How that process is organized? A team is responsible for testing alone. Team contains some QA engineers, yes, or software engineers do that work and cover everything.
In the product teams, they are responsible for their domain, and they test everything there within that domain. Then we also have the I would say the end-to-end testing team, who is responsible for testing the overall ecosystem, the e-commerce platform for shopping. Yeah, is responsible for testing the overall system together. They are not interested at is it the micro front end, or is it that backend microservice? Is it API gateway? Is it the messaging platform? They are completely not interested. They test from the business perspective from end to end, and that's how it works quite well for us.
So what about operations? Do you follow the principles like you build it, you own it?
Yes.
Or
yes, very
all
precisely.
The product teams are managing the application, so operating it in the production, or not? Or you have separate teams who are operating them?
In the microservices part of the company, it is complete responsibility for them. We have the differentiation between what is the platform, for example, Kafka, messaging platform, or API gateway. We have dedicated teams for that, or dedicated specialists for them. But also we are organizing the alerting part, the monitoring parts on the upper level of monitoring, and we delegate these monitorings to the owners of the endpoints, for example, of the messages, and so on. And ultimately, the team is responsible, the owner of the microservice is responsible for working, for maintaining and monitoring the business process, not the technical process. And this is how in the product teams they work.
Quick question. You said that like go-getters and people motivated within development teams assisted on the platform side and grew.
Maybe one, sorry?
Go-getters and like motivated people from within the development teams, they helped to improve the platform, and they assisted with like the onboarding or rather the evangelizing within the team, the development teams themselves. How do you identify these go-getters or seniors within the team or rather maybe not even how you identify them, how do you support them in that evangelizing process within the team?
Okay. Identification, to put it simply, is based on how recognizable the people are. What are they challenging? How they are naming the problems. And within, as I said, within the guilds, for example, the live meetups, it is quite clearly said who is joining, who wants to learn something, who wants to share something, and second, who is able to raise questions, who is able to raise challenges. And this is the first level of identification to support them in naming the challenges and the problems by their own. And the second level of support is that whenever we recognize that there are some, let's name them the talents, and then we usually offer them to to get the mutual relationship, for example, to move for some temporary period from the product teams to the platform team, and vice versa. Some people moved temporarily, some people moved permanently, and it works very well, that internship for us. Also, it works vice versa. From the platform teams, the people come to support, to help, to evangelize, and help adopting new approaches in the product teams.
Yep, sorry to end the questions. We are running out of time, so if you have any more questions, feel free to ask our presenter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.